Okay, we've also seen another case in today's papers about this grass cutting scenario, the Senate investigating the SGF, but the SGF is quoted to have said he will not appear before that committee and that he's heading to court, perhaps citing a precedent on this same matter. What do you think is going on?
Well, I won't rely on newspaper reports to make my opinion on this.
Assuming that were the case, but perhaps without conceding, what would you do?
How would you? I can't say anything on it because we don't know which court. Is there a matter in court? The SGF said that the matter is in court. If there is a matter in court preceding his invitation, yes. But if somebody had gone to court yesterday to file an action and he now writes, I will still hold the same view that that action is an abuse of court process.
Another issue that has come up just recently also concerning this issue is probe denominalized certificates.
Yes.
One would want to ask the question that this is someone who has been through the House of Assembly and has spent two terms there and is in the Senate now. Why then is an issue coming like that? Is this an inside fighting happening?
Well, the whole thing has become political. It's a fight to finish. They want to deal with Control General of Custom, and then he is fighting back. It's not only Dino's certificate that is the issue. You have heard about the Range Rover importation. These are fighting going on now between the custom boss and the Senate. But they did the right thing of submitting the issue raised by Senator Ndume to the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privilege to investigate. So they will now come there and prove the allegation that Senator Melaye is not a graduate of Ahmad Bello University. And then they will also prove the issue of forgery of the importation of the Range Rover. So the committee is there for them. So I think the Senate did the right thing of giving them an opportunity to appear before a standing committee to prove the allegation.
Two things seem to be playing out about the CG, Controller General of Customs, and then that of the SGF, because the SGF's case, it's on the basis of them summoning him to appear. But the one for the Customs is that does the Senate have the powers to ask him or compel him to put on the uniform? Yes. You know, that those who have said the Senate can summon any member of society to appear before them, but can they ask him to appear before them, since I don't know if they consider performing an official function, coming into the chamber to say, no, you can only appear in a certain way? Do they have the powers to do that?
I think so. You see, respect begets respect. What started the issue of invitation is there was a directive that people should pay retroactively duties on their vehicles. It was a directive which you want Nigerians to comply in your capacity as Control General of Custom. And then the another arm of government, in exercise of the oversight power, says, come and explain your directive. And while coming, appear in your uniform. For me, I don't see what is wrong in wearing custom uniform to appear before the Senate. I don't see what is wrong with it.
But one would have thought that maybe the Senate would have directed its statement to the Ministry of Finance instead of, because this is a parastatal under the Ministry of Finance.
Well, no, the custom and exercise it has a legal personality of its own. It's a corporate entity with a head created by the law. The Minister of Finance is just, or Minister of Finance is just the supervising ministry, just like EFCC. EFCC actually is a parastatal under the Federal Ministry of Justice. The Attorney General is the supervising minister of EFCC. But you invite EFCC directly to Senate. You don't go and invite Attorney General. So it's the same thing with Custom. You don't need to go and start inviting Minister of Finance. They are the one that made the directive. For me, I don't see why he should not wear his uniform. General Ango Because people are using the example of Anania. Anania is far off, because that one is road safety. But General Ango was appointed Controller General of Custom from the army, and he was wearing uniform. He was wearing uniform. I don't see why such thing. And it was under a military regime where he could have opted to be wearing either his military uniform or civilian dress. So I don't see why there should be this hula bello about appearing. The Controller General knows that the office he's holding is a public office. The Senate is the highest legislative arm in Nigeria. If they give a directive, I don't see why there should be an issue over it.
There are those who say that is tantamount to them enforcing the law, which is outside the scope of their functions, because they are lawmakers, and you can't make law at the same time seek to enforce that law.
No, it's not tantamount to enforcing the law. Enforcement is different from this one, that you should come in your uniform as the highest ranking officer of this government agency. I don't see the enforcement aspect of it.
Can they then advise the president, or is it bound to the advice that the CGC should resign?
Whatever they say in the Senate is advisory. It's a motion. It's not binding on the government, on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They have passed their motion. Motion is not a bill. So it's like an advice. Relieve him of his duty, that he's overage, he's not qualified. The President will look at it. He will refer it to the Attorney General to look into it. If they find there's merit in what the Senate has advised, he can kind of comply with their motion. But if he feels that the Senate is not well advised, he can ignore them. It's just advisory. But I believe, in my own view, that the Senate's advice on motion on this is not well thought out. The President has the power to appoint anybody to head that custom. Otherwise, they couldn't have appointed all the previous people, the Angos, Bello Haliru. Bello Haliru was a veterinary doctor somewhere, and he was brought to head the custom. He was not in the system. So the President has the power to appoint anybody to head that agency.
Okay, let's get to a view then about the EFCC as well, because if the Senate had rejected him twice, can the President still say, that notwithstanding, go ahead and keep acting as the head of that agency?
I think the Senate rejected him once. The first one was not a rejection. What happened? He came to the Senate for his screening, and they met in the Senate President's office, the principal officers, and decided to write to the President that this man, we have a DSS report that indicted him, so we don't think he's qualified. That was not rejection, because he didn't go through the stages. He didn't appear at the plenary of the Senate for his. So the one that you can call rejection was the incident that took place last week.
So you think it's just once
Once.
he's been rejected?
Once.